Approach play 101. Let's see if we can give you some basic approach play tips to see if we can get you hitting some more greens. These are going to be basic on-course tips that can help you lower your scores just by thinking through your approach plays more in the same way a good player, like a tour player, would think, rather than doing some of the classic amateur mistakes that I've seen over the years of coaching. So tip number one that I see people talk about a lot with certainly students at the moment, I've got 126 middle, 111 front, and 143 back on this green. Now this green is heavily pitched from front to back, so it's running away from me. So if I leave it short of this hole, I'm going to have a harder putt in theory than if I get it past the hole. I'm going to be uphill compared to downhill. Not that that's always true, but that's what people certainly believe. Now, for me to try and get this ball past the hole rather than like trying to take short out, always get past, it's a skill that it can be used, but it's really tough if you think about it to actually apply. So from this distance, I'm going to have a variance short and long, so a dispersion if I hit X amount of shots of around, let's say, 8 yards. Now if I go, so that means I can hit the exact number, let's say it's 115, but I can be 8 yards short of that and I can be 8 yards past that if I hit a group of shots. To try and think, or to think that I'm good enough to leave this ball deliberately past or short of the hole but still within that variance, kind of misses the point of my variance. I've got a variance of like double figures short in front of it. So let's pretend I try and leave it or go past the flag. I want to go past the flag by 5 and then I get one of my longer variants of shots. So I'm now past the flag by, let's say, 12, 13 yards. I'm miles away. The best thing to do, even if the green is pitched, now there is definitely exceptions to this rule, but not many, just try and get the ball as close as you can. So 115 front, pin looks middle to front. I'm going to literally try and land it about 115 to 120 yards. Struck it well, lost it in the sun. There it is, just pin eye right, take it. Try not to be fooled by going past the pin or short the pin to play for the slope of your next putt. I mean, if you're that good, do it. And if you're close enough, possibly there's a chance of doing it. But there's data to show even in chip shots, you're better off with the variance of left and right and short and long that we all have, even the best players in the world have. So if you think about it, I try and chip a ball 10 yards every time. It doesn't go 10 yards every time. I have a dispersion pattern. If you work that in, then you try and go short or long on the flag, you end up having a good chance of being further away from the hole. This game is hard enough as it is. Just try and get the ball as close as possible. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? But people trip up on this. Oh yeah, green's looking good. Next approach here is a great example of when maybe just trying to hit to the middle of the green is a better option than trying to make any kind of birdie or par or net birdie, depending on your handicap. We've got the pin at the front, and I'm going to put an imaginary pin at the back. So I'm going to hit the first shot here to the front pin, which is where the fat part of the green is. And we're taking a lot of trouble, so the bunkers and the short-sided miss kind of out of play. So I'm just going to hit a soft 7 and just try and get it somewhere onto the front middle portion of this green. If this holds on the left, that's going to be perfect. Maybe just dribbling off the right side, but it isn't going to be too far away. Now what I'm going to do with the second ball, my watch is telling me it's 200 to the back. So it's 173 to the front, playing about 165 because it's slope. It's 200 to the back, playing about 195. So I'm now going to hit the same shot with a 6 to try and attack our imaginary back pin. So hit the same shot up the left, just try and fade it in there, which is what I'm trying to do as my stock shot at the moment. Hit that, wow. Exactly the same shot, just hold on the left side. Ooh, that's going to be close. Let's get up there and see how those two are faring. So those two shots as dry shots, like in a studio, on a launch monitor, down a range, I would class them pretty much as exactly the same quality of shot. So this is me playing middle of the green to that frontish pin, and I'm just off the green, but I could putt, chip, do what I like with this. My chances of getting down into are high. Over here, so this is my back pin shot, and I've put my head cover on the green there, look, as the pin. This one is a fiddly, upper slope and over, no putting option. 2, 3, 4 pace of green to work with to get it close. Now, if we put our imaginary ball in the middle of the green, so let's say I achieved what I wanted to achieve, which is about here, I would have a 20-foot putt for a birdie. I'd have a 25-foot putt for a birdie. 5 foot. I mean, the odds of making both of those, 5-foot difference. It's not worth the risk for what is coming out of this one when it goes wrong. The other thing, if you think about it with these two shots, is they were equivalent shots. So that means that the 6-iron, them being the equivalent in flight, means that the 6-iron possibly was slightly better because it's a harder club to hit. It's got less loft. Playing the middle of the green on some situations is such a weapon. Going for sucker pins, it's just not worth it unless you are really, really good. Middle of the green, certainly on UK courses and lots of the courses around the world. Not the massive biggest green complex in the world. This hole is like a 3-point something hole. It's not a hole I'm going to be under par on in a year of play. Trying to attack a pin that's got like 7 paces wide at the back when we've got 20, 30 paces wide at the front to the middle. It's just a great way of losing shots, and we don't want to do that. Know when to take those sucker pins out of play. Let's play these two out. Obviously you can still recover. And I could putt this as well. I mean, I'd practiced my chipping. I'd probably putt that in a tournament. That's an easy 3. Got a bit of grass, so I've got lucky with the lie. Oh, a nice one. Oh, it's an easy 3 from everywhere for me. Obviously, recoveries can be done, and you might want to outweigh the recovery to what's gonna, to the danger. But I'm going to make as many birdies from the middle of this green as I am attacking it. I know the way I'll play it. Slope. This is one we all trip up on, and one I'm still practicing now as an experienced golfer. It's something I'm still practicing. So my watch is telling me it's 138 to the middle, pins in the middle, 125 front, 153 to the back. So 138, I can hit a wedge. Now I'm going to measure. This is a fun thing to do if you play with. So if you've got any kind of measuring device that has a slope reading on it, I don't care which one it is, it would be worth playing a game if you've got it or if your friend's got it, where you don't let them tell you the number when you're practicing. Try and guess it before they call it. This is something we're doing in the vlogs off and off camera a lot, because I'm just trying to learn slope so much better. So I'm going to guess this is about a 6-yard slope. And this is going to tell me this. So it's 140 pin. It's a 3-yard slope. So I'm 3 yards out, but I'll take it. So next time you're playing, if you've got someone who's got a slope device, you haven't got one, if you know your yardage, try and add or take off the slope and then ask them what the slope is. It's a great thing to do to learn the slopes. I mean, I would like that to be a bit closer. So 140 pin, where my middle yardage, well, my middle yardage is given 139. Now, other things which we're going to work into a bit more, I'm on an uphill slope. So it's uphill and I'm hitting from an uphill slope, which might just take a few yards off this shot. It is slightly downwind, so I'm going to hit a soft 9 just to try and make sure I get playing almost like a 145 yardage. Which that's doing, just stay right a little. Yeah, that looks not bad for distance. I'm going to hit another shot now, 139, which is my pitching wedge yardage, and we're going to compare the difference when we get up there. So this is a flat yardage, flat lie yardage club, and they are hit pretty equivalently. Be interesting to see how different they are, because I mean, in theory it should be 3 yards, shouldn't it? So this is the one where I'm fighting. This is the 9, the soft 9. I'm fighting the slope that I'm hitting off and the slope I'm playing off. This is the flat lie, not uphill clubbing to the yardage. And out of the two, This one's got a much higher chance of a free putt than this one. Lowering scores for most golfers is about keeping bogeys and double bogeys off the card. It's not about making more birdies. Getting that ball that bit closer to the hole with some better knowledge of the lie you're on, which we're going to do more of, plus the slope that you're hitting into. It's something I still get caught out on now, a lot, more than I think I should. It's something that amateurs, the more I watch, they get caught out on all the time and a lot. You know, they hit good shots and then they're like, whoa, where's that one gone? And it's like, guys, it's like downhill. That's like, you know, you could have hit half a club or a club less than that. Those ideas of really dialing in your understanding of the slopes and how you react to playing off different slopes, massive keys to gains there. Understand your yardages. Before we get on to some sloping lie ideas to finish, just understanding what distance you hit clubs and then in turn how they perform when they hit the ground. This is a massive hole in so many amateur golfers' knowledge. I've got 200 yards to the back, pins middle to back, so I'm going to play the 200 yards yardage. Now I'm going to hit a 6-iron to kick me off. This is my 200 yard yardage with a 6-iron. And I've struck that really good and it's going straight at the flag. I mean, that's just like a perfect shot. Over the bunker, we'll see if it's made the distance. But that's not enough for me to know. I want to know my yardages in a more complex way. If you look at how often golfers come up short, it's just amazing how much from the best players, even down through the handicaps, how often we come up short in our approaches. Now this might be because of mishits, this might be because of not understanding your clubs, or a mixture of both. It could be because of some of the first points that I've pointed out where you're actually trying to miss short sometimes, as in middle of the green ideas, but then there's other occasions where you should be just trying to get the ball as close to the hole as possible and you're trying to leave it short, and then you have your variance and you come even more short basically. So same yardage, I'm now going to hit a 22-degree hybrid, so this is my step up from my 6-iron. Now I'm hitting this quite soft, so basically this club's coming in a little bit flatter. So if I really want to push to the back of the green for whatever reason, I want to get the ball up to that hole. I just want to guarantee I'm far enough. My clubbing is going to be built around this one with a softer shot coming in a bit lower and rolling on 12, 13 yards, where the 6-iron, I'm hitting it hard. It's getting its peak height. It's going to land and stop. I'm using roll and bounce ideas to try and get me as close as I can generally to that pin. Knowing your distances with each club, knowing your distances and blending your clubs over, making sure you can hit different yardages with a few of them, will get you around the course shooting lower scores. Let's think about some sloping lies then. Biggest problem I see with people from sloping lies is that they don't understand the patterns of shots. So let's do some basics. Downhill lie, it's going to go lower, generally cut. Now, caveats to that idea, the less loft I've got in my hand, the more I feel it's going to cut. The more loft I've got in my hand, I can hang on to it. It's those kind of little nuances that you need to work in. If you're hitting into a green area where you're not going to be allowed to have too big a dispersion, you've got to be working those numbers in. This ball on the upslope is going to go higher, might stop quicker. It's going to turn left. And again, if I go lower lofted, so higher loft, I feel like I'm going to turn it more. Lower loft, I'm going to turn it less. It's understanding these patterns. So if the ball is below your feet, so now I'm hitting this way and the ball's below my feet, again, it's going to fade left to right, but it's going to move from your standard shot, your stock shot pattern. So let's say I hook everything with all my clubs, I hit a draw, ball below my feet might make me hit straight. It's working in those patterns, your patterns, into each shot and how it reacts. And I want you to start thinking of sloping lies a lot more like breaking putts. So play the slope like you played a slope on a putt, a left to right or right to left, but try and miss it on the high side. Try and win, try and not let the slope overtake you. You'll be amazed how far left or right or extra club or less club you can take when you get on different severity of sloping lies. And the key, the only really thing you can do is get out here and practice shots with different lofts from more sloping lies. and really learn and log those patterns. There'll be certain ones that you hate. These are situations where you should be definitely going for the fat part of the green, like all the other tips earlier on, rather than try and get the ball as close to the hole as in that situation. You might be thinking, right, I just need to get it to the green complex because I could cut this one out of bounds, so I'm going to take one club less so it doesn't go out of bounds. Limit those disasters. Sloping lies, play them, but also try and own them with some experience. Learn your patterns with the different lofts is the biggest key. It's not watching some video and working out the exact patterns from what that person is saying with their clubs off those sloping lines, because yours are going to be different. If I've got a heavy left to right shot, you put me ball below my feet, I can aim 20 yards further left than someone who's got a heavy draw pattern as a normal shot. You put them ball below your feet, like say, they can just aim straight. It's working out your patterns. And try and miss on the high side. You'll be amazed at how good that makes your sloping lies. That the sloping lie game becomes more fun, easier, and you definitely start hitting a few more targets.